A killer crossover, a ridiculous Euro step, or a nasty step back J are all some of the most exciting things you can see on a basketball court. These players have done that more than anybody else in NBA history. These are the top 10 ball handlers in the history of the NBA. Number 10, Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas was one of the fastest players in the history of the NBA. Because of his size, standing at just 6 foot, playing in an era of hand checking, he had to be shifty. Zeke would dribble the ball so close to the ground to avoid steals. Thomas would carve up defenses with his lightning quick first step, and it seemed like he was never out of rhythm. Number 9, Steve Nash. The 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns of the mid-2000s were the most attractive team in the NBA. Steve Nash wasn't athletic by any means, but he was quick, and he was able to change direction so quickly that he was one of the most evasive point guards in NBA history. He arguably had the best hand-eye coordination of all time, as Nash would make behind-the-back passes while running at full speed to give opposition defenses no time to react. Number 8, Chris Paul. Also known as the point guard, Chris Paul, simply put, CP doesn't have any deficiencies in his game. Chris Paul is one of the best defenders at the point guard position in NBA history, while also being one of the best passers of all time. Doing all this while only standing 6 foot, he is incredibly strong, helping him to lock down opposition guards and getting steals. While on the offensive side, he is a floor general for his Suns, as he is one of the only 6 players in NBA history to notch 10,000 assists, making the average players look like stars. While also having a deep bag of tricks to get off his own shot, Paul will make defenders look silly, as he is known to break ankles and make tough buckets. Number 7, Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway was made famous for his dribble move, the killer crossover, which unlike anyone else's, crosses over at lightning quick speeds, which let Hardaway blow by his opponent for an easy deuce. Yet again, standing at only 6 foot, he was really strong with a low center of gravity. Unfortunately for Tim, his prime was short-lived, as he would suffer a knee injury, making the killer crossover slower and easier to guard. Number 6, James Harden. Harden has his fair share of critics, as people will say he dribbles too much, and how he isn't a good defender, or how he hasn't made any playoff success. But what everybody can't deny is how he's mastered the game of basketball like no one else. With his shiftiness and ability to draw a foul and his patented step back 3, he's an artist at the game of basketball. Trying to guard a prime James Harden was just picking your poison. If you tried to run him off the 3-point line, he would use a Euro step and get right around you to the basket. If you tried to guard the Euro step, Harden would just step back and shoot an unguardable shot, which he consistently knocks down at an all-time great rate. James Harden is for sure a part of the best ball handlers in NBA history. Number 5, Jason Williams. Jason Williams' ball handling and passing was next level, as there was nothing he couldn't do with the ball. Jason was incredibly fast and he could get to the paint in a flash. They say he was allergic to a bounce pass, as he'd always be passing the ball behind the back with his elbow or even without looking. Jason earned the nickname White Chocolate. However, his stats weren't that great and he was never even close to becoming an all-star. However, in Sacramento, he was a fan favorite and one of the best ball handlers in NBA history. Number 4, Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson's critics would say he was a ball hog who opted to make tough shots instead of passing the ball to a wide open teammate. Most of his 26,000 points AI scored were off the dribble, and his ability to drive to the basket was the best in his era. No matter how tight the defense was, AI would always find a way to score the ball. The answer was the most feared guard in his era. He makes the killer crossover look guardable. Kobe Bryant would get his numbers and was the better player, but AI would embarrass you while getting his. Just ask Ty Lue. Iverson came into the league with his own new crossover, as it was wider and it faked out opponents that he was going to go the other way. The move even worked on Michael Jordan, as he crossed him up, and it's an all-time famous clip. Number 3, Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry is the greatest shooter to ever play in the NBA. He runs around like a madman, ducking through screens, getting the ball at a split second and making tough threes. He plays on and off the ball, which makes guarding him an impossible task. Standing at 6'3", Curry uses dribble moves to go forwards, backwards, and even sideways at lightning speeds. It's like he's floating through the air, as Curry makes it look so effortless, and he's inspired a generation. Steph has changed the way basketball is played, and he will pull up in transition for threes instead of looking for a layup. Steph Curry is truly a one-of-a-kind player and one of the best players in NBA history. Number 2, Jamal Crawford. Jamal Crawford played every game like it was just another game of pickup. He didn't play much defense and he didn't like the idea of passing the rock, but he could score with the best of them. And that was because of his ball handling prowess. The shake and bake was one of the prettiest moves in NBA history, and it looked like he was straight out of a high school mixtape. However, he was doing this against the best defenders in the world. The defender could be stronger and faster than him, but it never mattered, as whoever was guarding him would end up slipping and it looking like they were on ice. Number 1, Kyrie Irving. The best ball handler to ever play in the NBA was Kyrie Irving. Kai could dribble the ball with his right or his left. Kyrie is incredibly quick, as it looks like he has the ball on a string. It looks like he's playing in slow motion. Not only is Kyrie one of the best ball handlers in NBA history, but he's also one of the best finishers in NBA history. His sweet touch allows him to get shots up over even the best defenders the NBA has to offer.